Hi everyone, my name is Annie Liu and I am a product marketer on the Atlassian for Startups team. I was a startup founder before joining Atlassian, so I am super excited to be hosting our brand new series called Startup Stories with Atlassian, where we are talking to startup founders who are solving really hard problems within their space and learn from their ways of working as lean startups. We also have Natalie Mendes, the head of editorial at Atlassian, joining us for the interview. Hi, Natalie.
Hi.
Today, we have the pleasure to speak with Uday Chakravarthi, the CEO and co-founder of Clinch AGI, which is an AI platform that empowers go-to-market teams and a startup in the Atlassian for Startups program. Welcome, Uday. Can you do a quick intro about yourself?
Absolutely. Really excited to be part of this series. My name is Uday Chakravarthi, and I'm the founder and CEO of Clinch AGI. It's a generative AI platform that empowers go-to-market teams to be more productive, innovative, and collaborative. Before launching Clinch, I spent a lot of time building products for companies like Atlassian, Microsoft, etc. And I was too keen on joining the generative AI space because I saw a huge opportunity which Clinch AGI can solve.
Amazing. Thanks for that quick intro, and would love to just dig deeper into the story of founding Clinch. So if we can start there and just learn a little bit about your founding story, how did you get inspired to start Clinch? Obviously, AI is a huge opportunity right now, but yeah, just love to hear your founding story.
The idea of Clinch emerged during my time at Atlassian, where I worked closely with go-to-market teams on bringing new products to market and scaling existing products. Atlassian's success is rooted in its ability to help teams collaborate more effectively, and I personally saw how much more productive and collaborative I had become, while being at Atlassian. However, I also noticed, certain inefficiencies in the process, and not just at Atlassian, but in generally, this was a common theme across a lot of the B2B companies, where the amount of time that was spent or lost in, I would say, repetitive tasks and sometimes customer insights were not flowing across different go-to-market teams. When it came to launching new products and features, I noticed sometimes that marketing teams would spend significant time developing content, launching blogs, generating demand gen campaigns, onboarding emails, often experimenting with multiple variations, and going through numerous iterations. While some of these experiments were huge success, which is awesome, but also the process was time consuming and repetitive, and with valuable customer insights sometimes being siloed within teams, making some of the cross-functional collaboration a little bit challenging. That's when I really began to wonder, what if we could increase the speed of product launches by 10x? Like, what can we do? What if marketing could, craft compelling content more quickly? What if sales team could, draft follow-up messages faster? And what if product teams could actually come up with more interesting product ideas quickly? And if we are able to achieve that by shortening these timelines, we could empower go-to-market teams to accelerate product launches and accelerate customer growth. And with the rise of generative AI, this became a real opportunity for us. I saw an incredible opportunity to harness this technology to boost marketing, sales teams, while fostering better collaboration through AI assistance. Imagine a world, where AI agents working across various go-to-market teams. For example, one agent analyzing insights from a customer interview, another generating ideas for a product team using the same, customer interview, and another agent drafting customer stories. Now, all these agents could essentially collaborate in real time, boosting efficiency and enhancing the impact on human employees. And this actually empowers, these sales and marketing teams because they can spend more time on more strategic work. And with Clinch, essentially we're bringing the power of AI-driven collaboration to life, replicating how real-world teams function, driving productivity and accelerating business growth.
Love that. And as a product marketer, I definitely can resonate to the problem that you're trying to solve with content writing with the help of AI. So thanks for sharing that. And I think what would be really interesting to learn from you is you recently went from 0 to revenue in 6 months, which is really impressive for as a startup. So would love to learn more about how you landed some of your first customers, because I think that is definitely a big problem a lot of startups have.
Yeah, for any startup, the journey to revenue is often long, but in our case, we went from idea to revenue in 6 months. A timeline that is in B2B can typically, take a year or two for startups. A few things that really helped us accelerate this journey, getting the right team, staying laser focused on our customer value, and executing with purpose. These elements have been foundational in us getting from 0 to revenue in 6 months. Each piece had to fall in its place for us to achieve this early success and also sustain this momentum and continued growth. To dig a little bit deeper into this, first is getting the team right. Every team member at early stage startup is, very important and can make or break your startup. Right? We didn't look for people who, didn't have any weakness, but we looked for those who had at least one superpower, who could really raise the bar for the entire team. Whether it was in AI, whether it was front-end engineering, back-end, AI research, that one superpower was really important for each individual. The second is clarity of customer problem. Product market fit often comes when you can deliver real value at scale. That meant ensuring that our entire team deeply understood the problem we were solving. And we did this by making sure that our teams were also part of the customer conversation. Every feature, every piece of feedback, every iteration of the product was aimed at delivering value and tangible outcomes for the customer. We were obsessive about making sure that the product wasn't just solving the problem, but solving the right problem for the right audience. And then the third one was, execution speed was key. At Clinch, we built our culture around some core values like, focus on prioritization, customer focus, and rapid iteration. It's not just about moving fast, but also moving with purpose. That's really important. We work closely with customers, listening and learning about their problems as we develop the product. But we also maintained a relentless pace in implementing their feedback and refining the product further. This blend of, I would say, customer collaboration and swift execution was crucial in helping us land our first customer quickly and then keep them engaged.
That's so interesting, Uday. Thanks so much for sharing kind of some of the foundational principles. I want to ask you a few more questions about some of these, if that's okay. I love the part about building the right team. And of course, at Atlassian, we are obsessed with teams. I'm curious if you could tell us, what were some of those key hires or those key roles that you knew you needed when you were just getting started out?
Some of the key hires that, we really needed when we were getting started, one was, somebody who is very strong in foundations of AI, and somebody who's actually built AI products. And we were fortunate to find a couple of really strong people who've done great work, filed patents, etc., to really help us get stronger there. The second one is the engineering foundation. Whenever you're building a startup, especially in the space, it's important that somebody who has seen a startup from 0 to 1 is there with us. And we were fortunate to find the right combination of engineers as well as advisors who have essentially written the first line of code and built billion-dollar companies. So those I would say few hires were really important for us to accelerate our product development.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, having the right people in the room is the most important thing in a lot of cases. And then question for you about, the customer iteration and really being close to your customers, listening to them. Was there any particular feedback that you got early on from a customer that stands out in your memory where, they were able to offer you some feedback and you said, oh, we're going to be able to move on that. And, now the product is better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, one specific feedback that comes to my mind was, our first customer who was using our product, when they were sending essentially emails at scale. I think they were trying to send about 100 emails at the same time using our product. They the way we built the product out, the emails were sent, they saw that, but there was no I would say feedback loop after what happened, and were the emails opened or not. I mean, they had to jump into multiple systems to actually see that. And we also saw how this customer was we have video recordings, like screen recordings, so we could see where they were trying to actually go to see this information. And that key insight, along with the customer interview, helped us that, okay, we need to now think about the next stage as well, is like that sort of feedback, and how are their how effective the emails that were sent was. So we build those metrics into the product as well. So that was one example of customer feedback.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. Great.
Definitely agree that at the earliest stages, obsessively focusing on what the customers are doing inside your product is definitely super insightful. I also wanted to follow up on another really important question for startup founders, which is venture funding. What's your experience when it comes to venture funding for your startup? What are some of the ways that you convince your investors to invest in you?
For our journey, we raised about $500,000 fairly quickly, a pre-seed round from angels from companies like Atlassian, ServiceNow, Meta, to give you a few examples. And what helped us, one, is convince them was these folks were from similar industries, so they understood the challenges faced in the B2B space. And then the secondly was the vision really resonated with them. So it was not just showing them about what we could do in the next 3 to 6 months, but what does the 3 to 5 year vision look like, and why are we positioned, why are we the right team to do this now, and what are some of the technologies that enable us, what are our strengths. So really bringing those pieces together and painting a compelling vision helped us convince these folks to support us at such an early stage.
Yeah, that is super impressive, and thank you for sharing your fundraising journey. And I know we already kind of touched on this when it comes to reaching product market fit, which is one of the biggest milestones for a startup, but wondering if you have any additional lessons you've learned during that journey.
If I had to pick 2 or 3 lessons that I think can also help founders at this stage, I would say first one is hire individuals who can adapt and wear multiple hats. You as a startup, you have limited resources and limited time, and if you hire for very specialized roles early, then you have to wait for that person to free up bandwidth before they can do something. So we took a different approach, is where we hired folks who could wear multiple hats, and that really helped us accelerate our work. And the second, I would say, would be observe how your customers use your product, and this is where the customer obsession comes in. Basically get some screen recordings. There's a lot of software that you could use, and really see how they're using your product. How once they onboard, and you define what that aha moment would be for the customer, and then see if they are able to achieve that. And if they are not, then you can actually go back and talk to the customer or iterate on the product to make sure the onboarding is seamless. So one of the most important things is onboarding, because once you only get 1 or 2 chances with a customer, and if you lose that, then you might not that customer back. And then the last piece I would say is set product market fit milestones, and these milestones are essentially some checkpoints for you to know that you're heading in the right direction. For example, when you're pitching a product to a potential customer, are you finding it easy to find champions or book meetings with those customers for follow-up? If that is the case, then the problem is probably resonating with them quite well. So those are some, I would say, milestones that are important for you in the journey, that sometimes founders may miss it, and then they may end up building a product and it might be too late for them to come back.
Love those lessons on the journey of product market fit. I think now we would love to learn about some of the ways of working at Clinch. Natalie, do you want to ask some of these questions?
Of course, yeah. So, at Atlassian, we are obsessed with ways of working and teams, and we want to learn how teams operate. And I think, especially knowing your team, you have team members, sorry, in four different time zones. So, my question is, how do you coordinate work across the team in these four different time zones? And how do you use Atlassian products in that?
Yeah, one of the things that helped us build a strong team was we were pretty flexible in where folks worked, as long as there is significant overlap with the time zones, or if there are ways where they can collaborate effectively and asynchronously. Team members in India, Australia, US East Coast and West Coast, and coordinating across different teams, especially in a startup, can you have a variety of challenges, not getting response immediately, or limited time overlap, or there's certain challenges that can slow a startup down. So one of the things we did was establish some guidelines on how you can communicate and work effectively as a team. The first one is focused prioritization. We do weekly sprints given the stage we are in, and it's important that every team member is working on the right priorities. And we use Jira to manage all our sprints, and I've used it in the past as well. And what I found it is very effective. With just one tool, everybody is able to use and know what their priorities are. We've also integrated it with Slack, so whenever any project or any ticket has changed the status, founders know what that's live now. Now I can go and actually test it out or roll it out to our customers, etc. So those integrations have been quite helpful. The second key thing for teams to be effective across time zone, I would say, is clear communication. Often our engineering may need inputs from us, or our product team may find something while testing. Given the different time zones, live meetings are generally not an option, or it can be quite expensive. So we communicate such issues using Loom. It helps us foster also a sense of connection, because it's not just a message, but it's an audio and video based as well. And we use Loom extensively to communicate with our team members. We'll record a video if we found something that wasn't working, or if somebody had a question, they could just do a quick Loom video, share it on Slack, etc. We are also finding Loom quite effective with communicating with our customers. Sometimes we just send a Loom video of a new feature that was launched. Takes me like 30-40 seconds to record how the feature works, the value, and even our customers are now sending us feedback on Loom, which is great, because it's a quick video. I don't have to set up meeting. So I think Loom has been a game changer for us in terms of how we communicate clearly. And the last aspect, which is collaboration. Communication is great, but teams also, especially when they're remote, you cannot be in one room, right? So physically, so you have to be effective at collaboration. And we found Confluence as our go-to tool for centralized information. Sales, marketing, all the teams can effectively use the tool for all documentation. The templates are great to get us started. Like we have, when new people on board, we have onboarding templates, etc. And that has really made collaboration smoother. We also use a bunch of marketplace apps on Confluence, like the Glyphies, etc., for doing network diagrams and other stuff. So I would say Confluence has been very useful for collaboration for us.
That's awesome. It's great to hear all kinds of teams using Confluence for their work. Mostly we see customers using Confluence for documentation and more like product requirements documents, so it's great to see that crossover. And with Loom, it's awesome to see you using it both internally and externally to talk to customers. And it must feel nice when a customer gives you a thumbs up on something or sends you a comment that shows like they understand what you're saying and you can continue the conversation with them.
Absolutely, yeah. And the notifications are amazing because we get that notification instantly that somebody has recorded a Loom or somebody has watched a Loom video. So we don't have to wait for an email, or it helps us be more proactive and respond quickly.
And I'll give you a very high marks in terms of distributed company, making the most of your time, not trying to get so many meetings on the calendar that don't work for people's time zones. So that async collaboration is really awesome. So tell me more about why your team chose Atlassian, kind of the Atlassian suite, over the other tools out there.
One reason why we chose Atlassian is essentially it's a suite of products that work really well. And what we've realized is, these products, it's almost like if you think of a startup life cycle as a product life cycle, you'll be using different tools at different stages. And what we don't want is a lot of time spent in context switching by using different tools. And we've tried other tools as well, actually. And for example, Notion is one tool that we tried before we switched to Atlassian. And Notion was great for just general note taking, but what it lacked was really that that hierarchy, that structure of organized content. I often noticed my team misplacing documents or having difficulty finding what they needed when they were using Notion. So we switched to Confluence, and with Spaces, it made it much easier for us to organize information properly to begin with, especially when you have remote teams. And it allowed us to have dedicated spaces for sales, marketing, product, HR, all those functions. And then it also helped us scale more effectively as we started getting more and more people on board. So yeah, those tools working together I think makes these Atlassian products really effective.
Yeah, that's amazing. And especially, as you scale, one thing we know is that at large enterprises, a lot of the different teams use different knowledge management tools. And so they have scattered IT and scattered software. So if you start from one place, you're going to be able to grow more effectively and not have too many silos.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one last thing I forgot to mention is also the live collaboration, that happens in Confluence, because I'm able to collaborate in real time with multiple people, whether it is text or whether it's whiteboard, and it's almost like being in a room with them, and Confluence enables us to do that, which is pretty awesome.
Amazing. Well, thanks for sharing that, Uday. We love hearing about your use case of Atlassian tools. And to wrap up the interview, we would love to just learn a little bit about how is the culture of your team, some of the values that you brought over as you used to be the head of product at Atlassian, and wondering, were there values that you brought over from Atlassian or new cultural rituals at your company that you would love to share?
There are several values that I had a profound, it had a profound impact on how I run my company, Clinch. But if I had to pick like my maybe top two, I would say the first one is, building with heart and balance. Passion with urgency drives our work and our decision-making process. While speed is important, it's also important to make sure that, you are making the right decisions. So that is something that is also become one of our core values in how we operate as a startup. The second one is don't F the customer. This is something that is I would say probably my favorite if I had to pick one. And customers are lifeblood for any company, and especially startups. When you're at such an early stage. And it was not just a company that talked about it. When I was at Atlassian, it was always palpable when we built products. Like we could see when the decisions were made. If something was not right for the customer, it would we would discuss about it and we would not move forward. So we had a very high bar at Atlassian for what a great customer experience looks like. Once a feature is shipped, everyone has access to metrics and data to make sure customers are having a great experience with the product. And that is something that I have also replicated at my own startup, which is making sure we don't F the customer. And also, like, we are, one more thing we're building is, you might be familiar with that voice of customer program that's there at Atlassian, where, whenever you get feedback, everybody is, you get an email, notification, so folks know, what's the voice of customer. So we're also building something on the similar lines, so that, a Slack notification gets sent to our team whenever there's some feedback from the customer, etc. So yeah, I would say those are probably my two favorite core values.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm sure those values help you get your first customers in such a short amount of time. So love that the values carried over from your Atlassian days. Would love to just know, if you have any kind of parting advice for other startup founders, and just learn what's your vision with Clinch.
I'll start with the vision, and then we'll share some closing thoughts on a couple more pieces of advice for the startup founders. Our vision at Clinch is to revolutionize how go-to-market teams work by harnessing the power of AI-driven collaboration. We aim to create essentially AI teams that seamlessly integrate with marketing, product, sales, accelerating the speed of product launches and enabling businesses to craft compelling content and strategies faster. And with AI-powered assistants, we are driving productivity, improving cross-functional collaboration, and empowering teams to focus on what truly matters, which is essentially delivering value to customers. So that's the vision for Clinch. And in terms of advice for startup founders to close on, I would say is, startup journey is very different from working at a large organization. Like, every day, you're dealing with different things. It could be thinking about fundraising, it could be thinking about customers or building product. So one thing that really helps is be relentless in pursuing what that goal is, and also make the mission clear to everyone in the team, like why you exist, and making sure that everybody's working towards the same vision. Like, if you're able to achieve those things, I would say that you are on the track to build a successful startup.
Definitely resonate with the advice that being super clear on the vision and keeping everyone on track, because the startup, the early days, it's chaotic, so you got to have a North Star to keep you going. So
that's right.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Uday, for sharing your startup journey with Clinch. Can people, if they have questions or want to reach you, what's the best way?
Yeah, the best way is, I'm on LinkedIn, as well as my email, Uday, UDAY, @clinchit.io. And feel free to reach out to us. And we will also be opening up the product for more customers next month. So, keep an eye out on some exciting announcements coming up.
Amazing. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Uday. Great talking to you.
Great. Great catching up.